Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? We live in a world that literally never stops buzzing, dinging, and demanding our constant attention. Honestly, it's a world that leaves so many of us feeling completely burnt out, just running on empty. But today, we're going to explore some fascinating sources, everything from modern psychological research to ancient philosophy, to radically reframe our relationship with being alone. We're going to see exactly why solitude isn't something you should try to escape, but rather an incredibly powerful tool you really need to embrace. So I want you to honestly reflect on this for a quick second. When was the last time you were truly alone? And I mean truly alone. No notifications going off, no podcast playing in the background, no book, no social expectations whatsoever. For a lot of us, the honest answer is, I have no idea. We've become so conditioned to fill every single quiet moment with digital noise or social interaction that the very idea of just sitting quietly with our own thoughts, it can actually feel kind of intimidating. Here's the massive misunderstanding we're all dealing with right now. Society has basically decided that being alone is the exact same thing as being lonely. Because of that, we actively avoid isolation like the plague. We stay hyper-connected to the internet. We surround ourselves with people, and it just constantly drains our social batteries. But the tragic irony here, while we're endlessly connected to the outside world, we've become completely disconnected from our own inner voice. We are exhausted, not because we're doing too much, but because we never actually allow ourselves to just be. To fix this, we need a totally new vocabulary. Section 1, Alonement versus Loneliness. Let's look at the work of author and journalist Francesca Spector. She coined this absolutely brilliant term to separate the pain of isolation from the joy of solitude. We all know loneliness, right? It's that painful, agonizing state where you feel a severe lack of connection. But Spector introduces us to alonement, and this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's a positive, intentional state of self-connection. It's the joyful, restorative power of choosing yourself. You aren't lacking anyone else. You are actively prioritizing your own company. It's about taking yourself on a date, entirely guilt-free, and just owning it. And look, this isn't just some trendy buzzword. It's fully backed by psychological research. True solitude is a choice. Psychologists actually draw a distinct line between the objective state of being physically alone and your subjective experience of it. When you consciously choose to step away from the crowd, it acts as a really healthy catalyst for self-discovery. It gives you the space to incubate ideas, solve complex problems, and ultimately boost your overall mental resilience. All right, let's move into section 2, the genius of being alone. If you look back through history, you'll see that the most brilliant minds didn't just tolerate being alone, they absolutely relied on it. There is a pattern here that stretches across millennia. We're talking about the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates around 400 BC, the Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius in 170 AD, right up to groundbreaking scientists like Isaac Newton and Nikola Tesla. What's the common thread tying these massive figures together? They all utilize deep, intentional solitude as the very backbone of their genius. They understood that to achieve extraordinary things, you literally have to step away from ordinary distractions. The crucial takeaway here is that ancient philosophers explicitly recognized the danger of the crowd. Socrates famously championed the idea to know thyself. He realized that if you want to think for yourself, you have to take a step back and turn off what everyone else is saying. Think about it. If you're constantly bombarded by other people's opinions, it's mathematically impossible to find the real truth hiding inside yourself. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius took this even further. You know how people are always trying to escape their stress by, say, booking a lavish vacation to the beach or the mountains? Well, Aurelius noted that true peace isn't a physical destination at all. The profound Stoic approach is all about building an internal sanctuary. By retreating inward and exploring your own thoughts, you cultivate this emotional balance that makes you resilient to life's chaos, no matter where you physically happen to be. Jump forward to the 19th century with German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He was highly critical of what he called herd mentality, that natural human tendency to blindly follow whatever the larger group is doing. To escape this, Nietzsche would physically retreat to the remote Swiss Alps. This extreme isolation allowed him to completely detach from societal norms and foster truly original, independent thought. He wrote some of his most profound works completely cut off from the noise of the world. But choosing this path definitely comes with friction. Section 3, Why Society Rejects Deep Thinkers. If solitude is so great, why does mainstream society push back so hard against people who seek it? Let's look at Arthur Schopenhauer's critique. He basically viewed society as this grand theater, where everyone is just playing predefined roles, totally obsessed with superficial small talk, conformity, and constant entertainment. In stark contrast, the deep thinker is looking for depth, truth, originality, and reflection. Because intellectuals just can't tolerate the shallow nature of everyday gossip and status schemes, they withdraw. and this leaves them feeling alienated, while society writes them off as distant or difficult. Nietzsche vividly captured this exhausting pressure to conform, saying, "The crowd is a sea in which free spirits drown." Society actively rewards conformity. So when someone steps out of the herd to pursue an original thought, the crowd almost always reacts with suspicion, resistance, or even outright hostility. And there are deeply ingrained psychological mechanics behind why this happens. First up, the Dunning-Kruger effect. This means people with low expertise are often overly confident, and they'll quickly dismiss complex ideas by saying you're overcomplicating things. Second, the status quo bias. This is our natural, built-in resistance to unfamiliar ideas that challenge our worldview. And finally, the backfire effect, which proves that when you present people with contrary evidence, they actually tend to double down on their false beliefs. Knowing this really helps us understand why deep thinkers have to retreat. Our algorithm-driven, superficial world is literally wired to reject them. So, how do we actually do this? Section 4. Practicing purposeful solitude daily. We've talked about the history and the philosophy, but we need actionable steps for our crazy modern schedules. A really great place to start is by understanding Solomon's paradox. This is the psychological reality that you give much better, kinder advice to your friends than you ever give to yourself. We all have that brutal inner critic, right? Well, when you spend time in solitude and actually journal, you create a space to externalize your thoughts. By getting your anxieties out on a page, you step outside that inner critic and finally start speaking to yourself with the rationality and compassion of a best friend. To make this happen, here is a clear 3-step roadmap for building a restorative solitude practice. Step 1. Designate a specific area in your home, completely free from digital devices, that acts as your sanctuary. Step 2. You absolutely have to schedule this time. Treat your alone time with the exact same respect you'd give an important meeting with your boss. And step 3. Don't just sit there scrolling on your phone. Engage in a reflective practice, like journaling or meditation, to actually process your thoughts and get that emotional decompression. And remember, solitude isn't just about sitting in a dark, quiet room. It's about taking yourself on adventures. Try a 12-hour walk in nature. No podcasts, no books, just you and your thoughts. Studies actually show that simply being out in nature lowers cortisol and boosts mental resilience. Or, hey, try going out to eat alone. In Japanese culture, eating ramen is often considered this amazing, immersive solo experience. The point is, do the things you love, whether it's reading in a cafe or ordering a huge meal just for yourself, and learn to genuinely relish your own company. Which brings us to the final stage of our explainer, Section 5. The privilege of inner peace. Navigating a world that constantly demands our attention means we have to make some firm decisions about how we value our time. To truly master alonement, you need to embrace what Francesca Spector calls positive selfishness. This literally means claiming complete tyranny over your own schedule and choices. Listen, it is not rude to carve out alone time. It is not a sign of weakness to retreat from social obligations. It's a vital, completely non-negotiable form of self-care. Taking this time to restore your energy ensures that you can show up better, kinder, and way more present for the people in your life when you actually choose to. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The path of the deep thinker can definitely be lonely sometimes, and stepping away from the crowd means you might miss out on some of the daily noise. But look at what you gain in return: clarity, creativity, and true self-knowledge. So you have to ask yourself, is the price of wisdom and inner peace worth paying? Are you willing to trade the comfortable illusions of the crowd for the ultimate privilege of truly knowing yourself? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly, highly encourage you to go schedule some intentional alone time for yourself today.